Books you should read because they don't want you to. We hate this book so much we defunded an entire library edition.
This town was so transphobic they defunded their library.
Residents of Jamestown, Michigan, which is in my home county of Ottawa County on the other side of Grand Rapids from me, recently voted in Michigan's primary election to defund their entire library over its refusal to pull this book off the shelves. Genderqueer. Because of course it's genderqueer. What else would it be? The Jamestown conservatives, as they're called, successfully convinced residents by a margin of just under 800 votes that they should defund this millage that costs residents on average $24 a year because the library is dangerous and grooming and indoctrinating their children. 2 librarians were threatened and harassed to the point that they quit their jobs, all because the library stood up for people's First Amendment rights to be able to access a book that these people didn't like. Congratulations to the 7,000 voters in that area who couldn't be bothered to go and vote. I hope none of you plan to use your library next year, because it might not be here anymore.
So this TikTok by Betty's Pages tells the story of a town that is so transphobic that they defunded their libraries. And it's literally part of this broader campaign from these right-wingers to fearmonger about trans people. Apparently the idea of trans people existing and there being books that tell the stories and experiences of trans people is somehow so terrifying to these people that they would rather not have a library than for people to simply be able to read books about queer folk. And so this is part of a larger campaign that is happening across this country where apparently Republicans have decided that trans people are like public enemy number one. And actually, just recently, Republicans at the federal level have introduced a Don't Say Gay bill that would basically create a vigilante policing system where anybody would be able to file a claim against any organization or institution that receives any government funding simply for the mention of queer people's existence around anybody under the age of 10. Now, think about this. This is literally something right out of the playbook of Nazi Germany. Right-wingers are quite literally trying to ban books about the existence of queer folks. They are waging these ridiculous fear-mongering campaigns specifically about transgender people. And now they're trying to pass these laws that effectively deputize random strangers and actively encourage with a bounty system, a system where random people are actively reporting on their neighbors and their local government institutions just for tolerating the existence of queer people and recognizing the existence of queer people in their neighborhoods. We are in very, very dangerous territory, and it all stems back to these ridiculous conspiracy theories that these right-wingers believe about trans people. Fundamentally, we are at a very terrifying moment in history where the Republicans are threatening any degree of democracy that exists in our country, and they're using these bigoted, transphobic conspiracy theories as fuel for their hate-filled campaigns to erase what little of democracy exists in the United States. We are at an incredibly terrifying moment in history, and it seems the Republican Party is fully committed to repeating the path that Germany followed in the 1930s. Because believe it or not, one of the first big book burnings in Nazi Germany was actually a library at a research institution specifically for transgender folks. So really, these Republican attacks on trans people couldn't be more on the nose.